What's up, everybody? Welcome to the very first episode of the Hustlepreneur Life Podcast with your host, Dylan. This is our inaugural podcast. Very excited to get started. We have Cracka Lack on tonight. He's a music entrepreneur. We're going to talk business. We're going to talk kind of how things got started. Yes, he's my best friend, okay, but I just figured, hey, he's done it before. He's had a podcast, and having him on, if I messed up, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. I don't know. Just kidding, obviously. I don't want to mess up. But hey, I figured we could kick things off with him. He's been in business for 15 years. We talk business every day. So I think we could get a good conversation to start episode 1. So without further ado, let's get right into it. What's up, man?
Dylan, welcome to the podcast world.
Thank you. How was my intro? Was it okay? A little nervous sounding, probably?
It was good.
I'll work on the intros as I go, So this is pretty much live. So this isn't pre-recorded and I'm not post-editing anything. So just, it's what's happening now is happening now. I can't go back and edit this. So we're just kind of keeping it live. I guess that's how podcasts are supposed to be.
It's raw.
It's raw. Just like how I didn't come back to myself talking when I started talking. I got to get used to the keypads and everything.
Uh-huh.
A little split screen action. So what's up, man? How how you been?
Good and busy, me and you talk about a lot of the business stuff going on. Just lots of business stuff and lots of hustle and entrepreneur talks that we have, and I'm excited. I'm happy for you with this podcast.
I know, right? 'Cause I feel like I'm partially kind of like your life coach a little bit. So
exactly.
And you kind of shout me out every now and then on Facebook and different things just about how kind of I help you through, just motivational situations or just kind of life coaching type advice. So that definitely inspired me or gave me the motivation to go, you know what, let me start this podcast. I might not be the person, giving the tips, giving the advice, but I think I am a good mediator or a good person to kind of talk through things with entrepreneurs and different people to help kind of give the viewers the knowledge, I guess, and help share as much tips with them as possible.
I feel like you have a really good grasp and understanding on a lot of different things. So
Right.
With you having this podcast, it's a great thing for you to be able to showcase that.
Right. And and the first step is pretty much you, kind of letting people get to know you a little bit and just kind of getting some business advice. I think the main thing with this podcast is people understanding that basically it's going to be different people on the podcast, whether they're into music, whether they're into real estate, whether they're into anything. I mean, e-com, anything you can learn. Like Nick said, I have a decent grasp on just kind of understanding a little bit of everything. So I think business is business at the end of the day. So you're gonna benefit from listening to somebody, whether they do something totally different than you. It's business at the end of the day. It's side hustles. It's whatever it may be. So, I see networking with all types of people, basically. I mean, would you agree as far as you don't need to just network with somebody that's specifically in your lane, I guess.
Yeah, there's going to be a constant common denominator, which is wanting more out of life. And,
Right.
and that's what, through talking with you through COVID, I think that's the main take home that you have is oh shit, I have to do more and have a lot more streams of income versus the job isn't as safe.
Right, safe, exactly,
Yeah.
A lot of people, I think, going into COVID thought a 9-to-5 was safe. You got a paycheck, you worked hard. I'm in sales, so commission is everything. So that's what I like. I like not having chains on me. So I like having, the harder I work, the more money I make, point blank. Well, when COVID hit, it's really hurt a lot of industries. And like you said, I mean, thinking back to going I got to put stuff more into action. I think I spent too much time kind of focusing on just all things or just kind of having a general guidance on life and business. But now COVID really forced people to like put plans in action, and that's kind of what's happening now. How
I agree.
how has your business been through COVID? So I guess you can kind of go through some of the things you've done through the last 6 months, what you do, and kind of what businesses did you see go up? Did you see any businesses go down?
Yeah, so I would say prior to COVID, um, my life kind of revolved around customers. So everything I did was studio sessions where, people come to my studio, Crack House Recording Studio, and I'm one-on-one with them, recording, mixing, and mastering their songs. There's lots of that. It was lots of shooting customer music videos, editing customer music videos, making beats for customers, just a lot of customer stuff, which is good for making money. But after doing it for 17 years now, I've built up some status quo for like the brand in general of Cracka Lack. And I haven't been putting that much time and energy into, I guess, myself, or back into myself with doing things. There's a million things that I knew for a long time that I could do, I should do, and I would do. I just didn't have time to do it. And after about a month into COVID, that first month was just like getting caught up with all customer videos and things things that I had already been paid for. And once that was done, it was like, oh shit, I have nothing but time on my hands. Like, what's all the things that I've always wanted to do that I just didn't have time to do? And it's like, sometimes we all wish that there was more time in a day, and we say, I wish I could just kind of pause life and then get caught up on all these things and then, resume life. And that's kind of, in a weird way, what happened. And so, yeah, I just got a lot of things going. I started my own podcast. My YouTube really took off since COVID. I was putting more time and energy into YouTube and posting more videos, and my subscribers, views doubled, tripled, quadrupled. Now I'm actually making a little bit of money on YouTube. Just a lot of things that probably wouldn't have happened if I would have just continued in the cycle of, customer, which is good for making money, but long term, the best investment you're going to make is in yourself. And that's what I did a lot of during COVID, with like work slowing down or shutting down.
So I guess the question is, besides all the, health and everything related to COVID, we're talking just strictly business.
Right.
Would you say COVID was, do you see COVID, the time COVID gave you during that? Did you felt like it was a good thing almost, like for your business, as far as like, taking a step back almost, like you said, because it kind of took time, you had more time. So what was kind of your takeaway from that? I mean, do you almost see it as a good thing or a blessing, I guess, in disguise?
It was an eye opener too, because I realized I was in love with, I've always been good on having a to-do list. The night before I write out, like, all right, what are the things that are getting done on Sunday? What are the things getting done on Monday? What are my things for this week? And it was always customers. It was never me. It was never like, go film this video, edit this video, that's going to help you. But it was all just customer stuff. And through doing that, it was like I fell in love with doing stuff for me. And how I was explaining it to people is like, there's some things in life that you do to make a living, and then there's other things in life that you do that make you feel like you're living. And when I was doing the things for myself, like yourself right now with this podcast, this today isn't what you do for a living, but it's something that makes you feel like you're living, right. And that's how it is with me, with all the stuff that I've done, with having the downtime to put out more YouTube videos, connect with people all over the world, other countries. Like it's crazy the amount of people that you can reach from putting out the content. And I'm like, wow, this is from me. Because in the past, I had reached large audiences, but it was more so from the artist I was working with. So if I produce a song for this popular singer or rapper and it reaches 1 million people, yes, I was a part of that, but really the 1 million people was reached because of that artist. So when I'm actually doing my own thing and like I'm the only thing behind this, it's not connected or tied to anyone else. This is Cracka Lack, showing you how to do this tutorial, or Cracka Lack talking about this. And when you see that reach tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people, it made me feel like I was living.
Right. Now, I mean, what would you say kind of is your main focus coming out of COVID, or I guess, going, I mean, we always set goals. I mean, you got to think of it like it's always yearly goals. So, like last year, we were like 2020, this is the year, like it's going to be this, this, and this. Like, this is what's going to happen. Obviously, COVID made everybody kind of think on their feet and maybe switch things up, and everything changes from month to month, anyways. But, COVID aside, kind of whatever may be, kind of where do you see yourself? Kind of what are some goals for 2021 for you?
I'm the MVP now.
And the MVP
It is it sounds selfish, but it's very unselfish. But yeah, I just realized all the potential with myself.
Mm-hmm.
And man, and then I found the joy in doing that versus, I guess prior, it seemed like, I would say the same thing for you. It seemed like to make money, I show up to work. And for me, it was like to make money, I work with customers, rappers. Now it's more so, wow, I can make a lot of money not working with rappers, but working with other me's out there, other producers, other videographers. I've learned so much stuff over my 17 years. This is wisdom that you can only get from experiencing it. I can charge for my time and help people with coaching or game plans. Like one thing that I've always loved doing was game plan and strategizing. And then you love it too, because
Right.
most of the time when we talk on the phone, that's what we're doing is
Yeah.
we're helping each other with a game plan and strategizing stuff. Like I
Mhm.
love doing that. I think that's probably my favorite thing in life to do, working wise, is game
Right.
planning and strategizing. And then what I'm finding is it's like 95% of people that I work with or know or meet, they're not succeeding because they aren't good at game planning or strategizing. And so knowing that I could be the missing piece to the puzzle for them and setting up businesses around that or monetizing that specific service, that's something that I'm excited for as far as next year.
That's good. And I think we should actually circle back kind of to who Cracka Lack is. So, again, a big thing about this podcast is hustle. It's just all about the hustle, all about the grind. I mean, that's why we're hustlepreneurs. We're entrepreneurs, but at the same time, I guess we're not traditional. When people think of entrepreneurs, sometimes they think of guy in a business suit, guy, owning a business, just kind of like doing things like that. Well, there's that hustle to it. I've always been a big believer in having a 9 to 5 to fund your side hustles, or having basically there's nothing wrong with having a 9 to 5 if you use that to your advantage. Basically, like, you make more money than what your expenses, so you have that money to basically invest. You have basically the resources to take yourself to a level where you want to go. So my question to you is, when did Cracka Lack last have a 9 to 5, and what was the result of that?
So I'm 32 as of right now, and the last time I had a 9 to 5, I was 21. So it's been 11 years with making a full-time income off of music. So the label I've gave myself is a music entrepreneur. I was gonna call it a music hustler or a music entrepreneur. Both of those second words is hustler and entrepreneur. This
Right.
is hustlepreneur.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and that came from being 15 years old. My best friend started doing music, told me I should do it too. Me and him had experience with boy bands when we were in like
Right.
middle school, and then a rock band. He was playing the guitar, I was taking drum lessons, and then rap got cool, and like Nelly, 50 Cent, that era of the early 2000s. And started rapping, like making music. um the whole hustle side, once I was just doing music and going through my, you got to put 10,000 hours in to become a master at anything. So on my 10,000 hour journey, I was an artist myself. So I was making a beat, then I was rapping to it, and then I was recording and mixing my song and practicing, learning how to do it, getting good at it. And then people started asking, I like your beats. Who makes your beats? Now the hustler switch goes off. Oh, I make my beats. How much would you charge to make beats for me? Now I'm making some side money from selling beats to other people. Where my main focus was world famous rapper myself. But then I seen all these side hustles open up where, hey, your music quality sounds good. Who records, mix and masters your songs? Oh, I do. How much would you charge to record, mix and master my songs? Or side hustle. Yep, I'll start mixing your guys' songs, $25, $50, whatever it was back then. And then I started doing some videos, all
Now, real
self-taught.
quick, touch base when you talk about each thing you did. Kind of give a time frame of how long you did that for. So like
Yep,
when you start mixing mastering, like how long did you continue doing that for?
so I started at 15 and then 16, getting into 17. Once I turned 18, right out of high school was when I first started making some money from mixing other people's songs. And then also the same thing with I was making beats 15, 16, 17. Once I turned 18, I sold my first beat for like $5.
Now, what that setup look like? Where were you
I
at?
have
Well,
bedroom,
bedroom.
Yep, had a bedroom, had a little desk, had a closet, with the mattress topper foam
Yeah.
stapled up on the walls and
So you
stuff.
converted
That was the
you took
booth.
out them clothes and said, you know what, I'm putting a booth in here.
Exactly.
That's that hustle. I mean that's that little stuff that people especially people who know you now. It's just people don't understand sometimes of the grind, like where you actually start from and what things look like.
What I like most about it is when I was coming up, I feel like a OG, but when I was coming up, the internet wasn't what it was today. So back then, you couldn't search on YouTube how to make beats, watch tutorials for 4 days, and be sweet as hell in 2 weeks. Like, no, I sucked for 10 years
Yeah,
because there
exactly.
was no information. So that required way more heart, way more passion, way more dedication and
You couldn't YouTube
persistence to
how to
not
do
give up.
something that much, huh?
Like, I don't even think YouTube, there probably wasn't tutorials
Right, exactly.
back then. It was
Yeah.
like you just had to go through it and fail and fail and fail and spend hours and weeks and months and figuring it out. There wasn't a tutorial to answer it.
Right. Now, so you went from mixing, selling your first beat. Now, where did the 9 to 5, was there a 9 to 5 in there somewhere?
Yeah, it just random jobs. So when I was 18, I worked at GNC. I was always into like fitness and working out and stuff. So I worked there for almost like a year. And that was just, it was always just wherever I worked was just a job. It was
Yeah.
never like a permanent thing. I just knew, like, it was like I knew I was going to do music for a living. This is just a temporary job to have enough money to pay for my car payment, gas, phone bill, things like that.
So your dream was always on your mind
Music.
the entire time working.
Yep. Yep. I used to have a pocket, small, like the size of my fingers, notepad, and I would keep it in my pocket. So my dad had a construction company,
Yeah.
and I would work part-time whenever I felt like it, and just doing stupid, grunt labor stuff. Carry
Right.
400 pounds of wooden sheets from the front yard into the upstairs bedroom. Like, oh, okay, I'll be
Right.
doing this for 3 hours. And yeah, just I knew always that this was a temporary thing. This is a temporary thing. Yep, I got X amount of money. I can live off this for months.
Mm-hmm. Now, at what point did you go, all right, I'm done even trying 9 to 5s, or I'm done even wasting, like, in your mind, I assume it was probably wasting time?
Yeah. So I would say from 18 to 21, it was lots of just random side jobs. It might be a few months go by with nothing, and then I work somewhere for like a month, help my dad for a month and make $1,000 and live off that for a few months, and then get a random job through temporary places at factories and stuff. And the last time I had a job was a factory, and I remember I worked there for like 5 weeks, and it was just to get my mom off my back and to make a little bit of money. And when I got hired in, it was like the people that got hired in with me, they were there for life. It
Right.
was,
Yeah.
they even said, like, we made it.
Right.
In 90 days, we get bumped up 75 cents.
Yeah.
And another, every 6 months we get a 25-cent raise or whatever, and they were ecstatic about it, and I was depressed, miserable, lifeless, like
Right.
borderline suicidal. Like that's how much I hated a job. And I worked there for 5 weeks, and I realized during these 5 weeks, I'm 21 years old. I used to work on my career every day. I used to either make a beat, record a song, mix a song, learn video stuff. I used to do that type of stuff every single day. During these 5 weeks of this job, I didn't do anything music related. I also worked there for 5 weeks. It was like $13 an hour, $12 an hour, something like that, living at home. So I didn't have rent.
Mm-hmm.
I had made enough money to where I could live off it for 3-4 months, and I'm just thinking to myself, long term, I've always had long-term vision, and I'm thinking, I'm 21 years old. I have this job that I hate my life, not excited about tomorrow at all. And I only have this job because I feel pressure from my mom that you need to get a job. You need to get a job. If you don't have a job, you're a loser. And yeah, it just felt counterproductive. My career, while you're young is the best time to go all in. Me and you today, we have mortgage payments, car payments, we have a family, we have a lot more responsibilities. When I was 21, I didn't have none of that. I had a car and that was it. No kids, no family, no mortgage, nothing. So I just thought, okay, let me quit this job and I'll utilize my time to really work more. And the music stuff made more money than the job, because the music stuff was, even at this time when I was 21, I was doing like $25 an hour for studio time, or I had this job that was like $13 an hour force, but I just didn't have enough clientele, or I wasn't popular enough at the time to have the music side hustle stuff wasn't consistent enough, or reliable or dependable. It was just kind of like crossing my fingers that my phone would ring, and sometimes it would, sometimes it wouldn't. Sometimes maybe a week would go by and I made no money, and then the next day I made $300. Just very hit or miss. And once I quit my job, and it just worked out.
Now, I guess to me, my question would be, did you want to make that leap because you're like, man, I could make so much more money doing something else, doing what I love?
It was more so I hated this.
It was just more so I hate. So you were actually more so chasing the passion. It wasn't even so much the money. It was the happiness you were, the happiness of doing something that you actually wanted to do, basically.
Yep.
I think that's what's
100%.
interesting too when it comes down to business, is like some people get caught up in like trying to make money. Like they chase the money. And what I've learned from Gary Vee and like different people, the money will come, when you're doing something that you're passionate about. I mean, Gary Vee is like huge on that. If you're doing something you're passionate about, follow your passion. I think he was telling one person one time, he was like, if you love the Smurfs, he was like, you could love the Smurfs, everything about the Smurfs. Well, guess what? There's millions of people out there that love the Smurfs too. So his whole point was sell Smurf stuff, or like, basically it was a very, very like basic kind of analysis, but his whole point was do something you're passionate. You can turn anything that the difference is, if you're chasing money, you might not figure out how to make money, because you're always going to be chasing what you could do to make money. Basically,
yeah.
But if you're passionate about something, you'll find a million ways to take your passion and make money from it. And I think that's yeah, like, so kind of continue, because you got about 10 more years now. So where was that? Where was the biggest struggle? I guess to say, what age range do you think was the biggest struggle, the biggest fight for you to go, I'm quitting, I'm not quitting. I love what I'm doing, I hate what I'm doing.
21 to 23. So when I was 23, I had a kid. When I was 21, I quit my job. And again, from 21 to 23, some weeks I'd make $500 off of music, whether it was studio time, beats, videos. Some weeks I'd make $50, and then the next week I might make $2,000. So it was very up and down, hit or miss, very inconsistent. And so sometimes it would slow down to the point where I would start thinking, man, I hate a job. I remember that feeling of depression and hating life with the job. Maybe I need to get a job for a little bit just to have some more money. I just felt like when my phone wasn't ringing, and this is where like true hustlers, you adapt because you have to. It's like to survive, you have to adapt. And so if my phone's not ringing, how do I make my phone ring? You have to learn about marketing and branding. Well, what the fuck is that stuff? So through trial and error, I started digging into that, and now I figured out, oh, I'm I've now learned how to build my brand. I've now learned how to uh, market myself and run ads, and I did all this stuff because I had to. If I didn't do this stuff at 23, once I hit 23, that's where it became consistent enough to where a job was completely out of my mind.
Now, you know, when you had Maya, right, at
Yep.
23, what what was that? Because I obviously had Carter recently, you know,
Uh,
he's 19 months now, so I know that struggle, man. Like, I know that time it takes, you know, for a kid, and just, you know, all the things that come with the kid. You know, obviously you didn't have a 9 to 5, so it also gave you, like, for me, my struggle too is I have a 9 to 5, and then I come home, but I want to see him, I want to see my wife, but I also want, like, I'm so, like, passionate and so hungry to build and work and build our future now, because not only did I've always been this way, even pre-kid, but it's like now
mhm.
that I have him, like, I want, like, everything's for him and the family. Like, now I'm just like, I'm even more passionate because of him. So at 23, I mean, what did you go through as far as, I know there's those struggles of, again, maybe time or like struggle, but kind of, did you get a new boost of confidence actually by having a kid? I mean, what was those feelings?
Um, well, knowing that I was going to have a kid, it gave me a deadline because that's something that I've used to help me be more productive or get more things done is having a deadline. So just just what it was like 2 weeks ago, me and my girlfriend Alyssa, we went on a getaway 3 hours away to Manistee, Michigan. And prior to this, 2 weeks before I booked the trip, I'm swamped, I'm stressed out, I'm overwhelmed. I had like 17 to 20 videos I needed to edit on top of daily stuff. And it's very overwhelming, and wanting to still make time to exercise so you're not a fat fuck, and then spend time with your family and be a decent dad and spend time with them.
Right.
Um, and so I gave myself a deadline. I'm like, here, in 2 weeks, let's book a trip. We're gonna get away, and I know that I'm only going to enjoy this trip if I'm done with these things. So that's my finish line.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's something that's always worked for me. So with knowing when you find out you're gonna have a kid, you know it's not gonna be tomorrow. It's gonna be 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. So now you have a deadline. Like, okay, where am I at in life right now? Where's my income? I need to pay this car off. I need to do this. I need to do that. It gives yourself some sort of deadline, and that helped me a lot to get my shit together, get my shit in order by the time she was born. And then once she was born, as far as how people want balance, um, right out pretty much a few months later after she's born, we did 50-50 custody. So I knew, okay, I have my daughter half the time. So while I'm with her, being a entrepreneur, I can make my own schedule. So my schedule was I'm not working while I have her.
Right.
So half of my life, I'm just not working. I'm here with her. And granted, I did have an online CD duplication business, so I would still make money easily, very passively doing the online business to not worry about finances like that. But then I would know, okay, the other half of the time she's gone with her mom. So this half of the time, it's grind time. Like I'd be laying in bed on Friday nights knowing every Saturday Maya leaves. Okay, tomorrow is Saturday. Tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow I have 10 hours of studio sessions. I got to film this video. I got to edit this video. And I would have 16 to 18-hour work days on them 3 to 4 days a week that she wasn't there to make up for, okay, she comes back tomorrow, I'm chilling. Like, so that was my balance for quite some time, some years, 3 years or so.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing with business and just with that hustle. Again, it's all about balance. It's all about time management. I think time management is key. I know me and you, one of our biggest or our favorite quotes is kind of like, or basically that, not so much a quote, but just basically that time is the most valuable asset that we own because you never get time back, you know? And I think if a lot of people, it can stress you out. I'm not going to admit, like, having that thought stresses me out because, like, if I freaking waste 1 second doing something, you know, that I find wasteful, like, you know, it like eats at you because you're like, man, I could have been doing something that was more worth my time. So I think it's a good and an evil at some points, you know, but like you said, if you have a schedule, if you have balance, you know, it puts it in perspective. Basically, you won't get so stressed out because, like you said, you knew when you had Maya, like, I'm not working, like, so you can relax, like, that stress is off, like, you know, when she's gone, like, it's grind time, you know. So I think most entrepreneurs or people who are looking for side hustles need to realize, like, you know, you gotta just balance that time, and it's time management at the end of the day.
I think also with having a clear vision, like if you have a
True.
clear vision on exactly what you want and what you have to do, you don't feel so guilty taking time away from them, or you like, you got to get your whole family on board with what the vision is. And, you know, it could be, we have this much debt to pay off. We're buying a car and buying a house all in the next 16 months. This is what we have to do. Like, daddy's got to go to work.
Right.
This is what's happening. Yeah. And yeah, once you have that clear vision, yeah, you don't really feel guilty or things like, you know, you're taking care of business. You're sticking to the plan.
Right. I'm a strong believer too in the whole just start kind of concept, where it's like, just start. Like, if you have an idea, like, I'm big on planning, business planning. I mean, that's what me and you talk about too, is like writing out business plans or just kind of setting that vision, like you said, so you don't get stressed out, because you have like 7 businesses you're trying to work on all at once, but it's like you're never going to finish one or complete tasks if you constantly are jumping around. And, you know, even though I give you tips sometimes on that, I fall into the same you know, rut of that, especially with COVID, because it's like with COVID, that kind of, like you said, like, instead of having a 5-year plan, it became like, we got to figure out something now, because you know, my job could be gone tomorrow. We don't know, because, you know, I'm not the owner of my business. You know, I'm an employee, so I'm at the mercy of the owners or kind of what's going on in the world right now. So you know, that grind, you know, can have me reaching for things sometimes. You know, I'm like, oh, let me try this. Okay, let me try this. Let me try that. Let me try that. But, you know, it can be a struggle. But I also think that if you don't try stuff, you don't know. Like, you know, like 6 months ago, Hustlepreneur was not on my mind. Like, that name wasn't even a concept. That came from me trying like 3 other things, or kind of working on 3-4 other things. And I started to realize, oh man, like, I think this might be what I want to do, you know. Like, remember I brought this up to you on the phones, where I always joked around about having like a talk show, like a Jimmy Fallon style kind of, you know, talk show. Like, I've always been into that. I used to low-key want to be an actor, like, back in the day, like, in school and stuff. Like, I wanted to get my Ben Affleck on, you know, all that stuff. But you know, like, I've always wanted to do so many things, you know. I used to think I could rap, maybe, you know, but I knew right away I couldn't rap, though. That was one thing. I knew I couldn't get on the track, even though, you know, I would get tempted, you know, knowing
I'm
you.
sure you freestyle in your car still to this day.
Oh, you know, I know every song to Lil Wayne, Drake, you know, any song you name, I know it. But yeah, you know, so like, that's what I always feel like, is that sometimes I can do way more than what I should do. And I think, again, that vision is really the main thing. Just knowing what you want to do, and then, you know, ruling stuff out, which has kind of been a thing you've grasped recently also, with kind of the saying no thing. So I think that's the biggest point to all this, is kind of, you know, whether it's a side hustle, a 9-to-5, owning your own business, you know, come up with ideas, you know, notepads. Come up with ideas, have a vision, and just start, you know? Like, if you wouldn't have started when you were 15, 16, 17, I mean, who knows if you would be where you're at now. And it's a grind, man. Like, nothing's a get-rich-quick scheme, you know?
Exactly.
So, now that you're kind of transitioning from you've transitioned a few times from different things. Can you kind of list, what's your revenue streams or your income streams?
Um, yeah, so as of today, I would say most of my income comes from video work as far as shooting music videos. Uh, how we were talking about things that you enjoy doing, like passionate about this, and I can make money off of it,
Right.
or just make money off of it. Weddings for me, right?
Mm-hmm.
I started doing some weddings, and at first I was making like 5 times what I made off of music videos doing weddings. And it was like, oh, I like doing weddings, not so much because I'm passionate about weddings and love and capturing the moments, but that's some good money. Well, as I got more established and popular at shooting music videos, and when music videos and weddings were the same price now, it's like I don't like doing weddings. I
Right.
like doing music videos. Like I need to stick to, so it's never always about the money.
Exactly.
But the thing is though, for people watching or listening, in the beginning, you have to do a lot of different stuff, whether you like it or not, to get by, to make money. So if I was starting to today, I'd be doing photo shoots, family pictures, senior pictures, filming weddings, filming gender reveals, music videos, performances, all sorts of stuff to make money off of my camera. And then once I found I really like specifically doing music videos, that's all I want to do. I just want to dominate the music video field. And and then that's what you do. But in the beginning, you don't have the luxury of being able to do that. You got to have a lot of different sources of income.
I said I was going to bring a bell. I forgot I have a little bell at work. I was going to bring it, and I was going to ding it every time a gem was dropped, because to me that was a gem right there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. You got to do it all. Like you when you're starting out, because it's kind of like the high school method, or like the school method, where everybody's like, well, why am I doing history? I hate history. Or why am I doing this? Why am I doing that? Why do they teach me all these things in high school? And I think the one good thing about you having all these different subjects is you're never going to know if you like doing something if you're not kind of if you don't get a taste of everything. You kind of gotta, like you said, trial and error. You gotta shoot though. If you know you love your camera and you love shooting videos, like you said, man, you gotta try different things, because you don't know which one's gonna stick. And I think that's kind of an important thing for people to remember, is just you gotta try. You gotta get started. You gotta try. Find a passion, find something, and work on it. Because at the end of the day, if you're not passionate about it, like you said, chasing that money, you're gonna find out, man, I'm unhappy. And I think that's one thing they talk about too. So many millionaires and so many people are unhappy, and it's like, how they got so much money? It's because they still hate what they're doing.
I made the most money of my life in the last few years. I mean, every year it keeps going like this, but lots of unhappiness in the last couple of years. And so that's what I tell people too, is when you run into someone that, how's business? And you say, man, I'm busy. Oh, busy is good. I learned last year or 2 years ago that there's such thing as too busy, because happiness is a factor too. And so I was so busy, business was good, making a lot of money, but I was like working so much that there was no happiness there. It was just like video after video after video after video. I'd be shooting a video for someone, and my prices were so cheap that they'd be talking about how much for 15 videos. And I'm like, 15 videos? I'm trying to do a good job on this video, let alone another video. I have a video shoot tomorrow and then two more the next day. Like, so that's where I learned about supply and demand. And, it's good to say no. I think the most successful people say no to a lot of different things. And that's changed a lot of shit in the last 6 months for me, is saying no to a lot of stuff. And even like going forward, as of right now, I do not have a music video booked in the next 2 months, because I've like shut down the operation. And I mean, mainly due to I'm about to get shoulder surgery. But yeah, I don't know. I don't feel desperate.
Right.
And I think that's a thing. In the beginning, you're getting started, you're desperate. I need as much money as I can get. Right now, I'm good. I'm comfortable, and I'm comfortable like financially, but I'm not like complacent, So I'm very something's got to change right now. I got to do it. It's on me. But just we talked on the phone earlier where my studio being popular, like it's all up to me to make my studio what it can be. So I'm aware of that. So now it's time to say no to all of these other ideas that I have, and I got to focus on this one. I got to get this one fully optimized and making as much money as it can and should, because it's all on me. And then once this is established, let me move on to the next project.
No, I think that's a good segue kind of into kind of this last topic of passive income. And I think once you reach that point of being able to build passive income, that's when that money is made. That's when life, that funnel opens. Like, and it's like an endless supply. And I think you're to that point now, right? Of, like you said, like video work takes your time. Now, explain a little bit about the studio too, because people might think like, oh, well, you're going to be in the studio, but kind of explain your studio breakdown a little bit.
Yeah, so I went to Atlanta sometime last year, and there's a point to the story. I linked up with Producer Grind, who's like, established big dogs in the music producer world. And I asked Dylan, the CEO, what's the name of the studio? He said, oh, this is Sunny Studio. And I'm like, oh, Sunny, this must be Sunny Digital Studio. How cool would it be if he's actually here? Well, we go inside, and of course he's not there. He just owns the studio. Well, about 2.5 hours in, we're almost done. Door opens and pokes his head. Oh shit, it's Sunny Digital. How cool is that? He poked his head, came in, shook some hands, took some pictures. We met, had a conversation, exchanged numbers. And right there, I was like, okay, that's what I want to do at my studio. I don't want to be the guy that's always there doing the session. I want to be the owner. I want to be Sunny Digital. I want to be the guy that pokes his head in and drops some water bottles off or drops some chips. And so with studio shutting down, my whole life consists of me doing things around me. Studio opens back up after, the governor lifted the restrictions, and boom, I need studio. And even at the time, it was $50 an hour. I'm thinking, bro, if I sit in the studio all day, 8 hours, 10 hours a day, I'm actually losing money from what I had built up for myself with being closed at the studio. I need to find a way to passively start making some money, because to anyone listening or watching, you can make 6 figures a year actively by, in my field of work, it's let me make a beat, sell it, boom. I actively just did this and got some money. Let me go do a session, $50, $75 an hour. That's actively making money. I can go shoot your music video, get paid this. I actively did that. Passive income is making money while you're asleep, and or making money while you're making money doing other things. Like I travel a lot to shoot music videos with raising my prices, and so I'm gone a lot. Well, how cool why does my studio have to be shut down while I'm gone shooting these videos? And then when I come back, I have to edit all these videos, so I can't be at the studio. So it opened my mind to, about 6 months ago, let me find a few engineers that I trust their sound and quality that I can hire at the studio, and I can pay them hourly, and then the studio can still make money hourly. And now they're making more money than any job that they probably have. And then the studio is also staying open. And now I don't have to turn down that 40, 60 hours a week, the demand of people wanting studio time. So now I'm passively making money as like the studio owner. And I'm excited about that.
Now, I think people need to realize too that, Crack's also providing to other people a way to make money. So, I don't know these two engineers, personally, so I don't know if they have 9-to-5s or if they have jobs or whatever, but, they're just, they're possibly just starting out. They're obviously good producers, but my point is, they're not to the point of being able to have their own studio or, Crack has that. You have that studio, you have the resources basically, and it's a really good studio. So it's a give and take, like he's getting a cut because it's like rent. Think of like a barber in a barber chair, like they're paying, for that barber chair. They're paying to have that, that barbershop basically, and have that chair and have clients coming in where they can possibly get walk-ins or have an established business for places to go. So, it's that perfect storm of, you're helping them out and they're helping you out. Like it's a good partnership, and, essentially it ends up being like employees, where, but they get to be independent. Like they get to treat it like it's their own too. And they get to be a part of something that, hopefully will continue to be a great thing,
Yeah, it makes me happy to have, I feel like it's more responsibility.
Right.
With the studio, like knowing that they have families and knowing that they have kids, and me knowing like, oh, my phone just went off. Someone booked 5 hours with one of them. Like,
right.
Yep, there we go.
Yeah.
Like, I know they need that. I know I need that.
Right.
Like win-win situation. Hopefully they do a good job with them. They make the customer happy. Now they got this customer, because clientele is the hardest thing to get in the beginning. And so with having an established studio with clientele,
mm-hmm.
too much clientele for one person. So that's what
right.
I'm saying is like, look, guys, I'm only going to be here 1 or 2 days a week from now on. I know that a lot of you want to be here. Here's these guys, they're available and they're good.
Right. I guess we could use the studio almost as like like an example. So basically, you had home studios, whether in different homes, and then I remember my dad would go help build booths in the basements of some of them, and the progression of now you lease a studio in Michigan in a nice building, and you have your own spot. And I think what's cool about it is you used to be the only one there, and then now you have 2 employees there. And now not only do you have 2 employees there, you have somebody helping you run the social media. And then from having somebody help you run the social media, now we're going to that next phase of Facebook ads. And some people that know you that might be watching this or listening to this are probably going, yeah, I've seen those ads like crazy recently. And I think that progression did not happen overnight. It was, like you said, 10, especially I would say 10 years since actually having a studio, kind of like your first studio, or 15 years from having like a studio. Your first, I guess, you can't
first
discredit
ever like bedroom
you
studio?
Can't discredit the bedrooms. That's
yeah. That was 15 years old.
Right. So 17 years then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, man, like things might happen quicker for some people. Things might not. I know we live in the age now, like you said, where 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds, 20-year-olds can progress a lot faster on certain things because they have all the tools. So I think the main takeaway from this, especially if you're like younger than us, is that you have the tools. To me, it's almost like you definitely don't have the excuses. Like if you're young right now, like extra young, and you're really born, like we grew up in internet, land, but we weren't born into it. Like a lot of stuff still didn't exist when we were born, and I guess that somewhat ages us, but like the internet still, and social media and all that stuff is really new. So like Gary Vee, again, I love him. I know you love him. He's really big on just, taking to social media and using that as a tool. And you literally have, I know Facebook and Instagram, lately has really made it pay to play, when it comes to businesses, but there's still no excuses. You can engage, you can progress your business all on your own. I think that was a big thing for me too, like starting the Hustlepreneur stuff. It was like the time, again, Grant Cardone is big on time too, and 10xing your results and 10xing your thinking. It's like, oh, I don't have time. But think of how many times you get on Instagram or social media right now, Facebook or whatever, and you just scroll, not doing anything with business, not doing anything. You're just on there scrolling. Well, I simply changed my mindset and said, no, let me work on the Hustlepreneur. Let me get on that Instagram and like comment on people and, engage with people. Like, let me do that. I still check mine, once in a while just to kind of see what's up with people. But, I think it's also cool to see some of the guys I'm running into that are big on e-commerce and things like that. their personal pages, because they don't need their personal pages for when it comes to e-commerce. Like you're building a brand, so your personal page is your business brand. So you focus on that. You put a lot of time and energy, and you see the payoff. But some of these other guys who are in the e-com, they don't focus. Yeah, their personal Instagrams might have little followings at all, and somebody might go, well, if you're so great at social media, like why is your personal page so low? And the point is they don't make money from that. Like they spend all day on 3, 4, 5 other Instagram pages that are all business pages, that are all e-commerce based websites, and they're building that. So I think that's one takeaway to take from that is like you do have time to shift that mental thinking from, you know, spending all your time doing, you know, BS basically, and actually work on your business or work on something that can be productive.
It's kind of how we were saying successful people say no.
Right.
It's not trying to make more time to get things done. It's paying attention to like not doing certain things that take up your time that you're doing every day.
Exactly. Because there's a balance again, especially when you're working 9 to 5, man. I burn out. Like I do. I really do. Like I do need those moments of like mental clarity or like kind of like, you know, getting myself back to normal or recharging because you burn out. Like you really do. Especially when you have a 9 to 5. But I'm nowhere near in my life right now where like I would, you know, quit a 9 to 5 and like focus on a business, because I think you also have to be smart at the same time. Like I have a family now. Maybe that was something I could have done 10 years ago. Like you said, you know, you were living with family, you were still young, you know, younger than what we were obviously now. So like you took that time. And again, if you're young right now and you live with your parents, like how's the time? Like if you're smart and you're successful, or successful minded, I should say, because you want to see that success, like take this opportunity now to build and work on business, like work on something that you're passionate about, because it's going to get you a lot farther. You know, now I have to worry about health insurance, you know, like if I quit my job, I have no health insurance. You know, my wife is a stay-at-home mom, especially due to COVID. You know, finding a nice job right now is just, it's not easy. So, you know, again, I think being smart is also a huge thing too that Mark Cuban talks about. Mark Cuban's like big on, you know, using your own money to build a business, like trying not to get loans, like basically saying there's ways to reduce your risk and really catapult your rewards is by basically focusing on, you know, there's a certain point of safety, I guess. You know, safety can be a bad thing because I could go, you know, I always have my 9 to 5, you know, like, you know, always basically a fallback plan, which I know a fallback plan is not always the best thing to have because, you know, if you have a fallback plan, it's basically that safety net that's not going to let you take those extra risks that you need to take to succeed. So have you felt not having a safety net has really helped you kind of get through everything?
Yeah, 100%. There was never any other option. There was never any other plan. Nothing made sense in my life except for doing what I do. Right. So like knowing that, understanding that, being smart enough to really realize what that means. And it's like if you simplify problems, they become easy. So if you think about what do I really want? For me, it was world famous. In the beginning, it was world famous rapper. And so it was like, okay, what do I have to do to be a world famous rapper? Okay, I need to keep making songs. And then I kept making songs. And then it led to me realizing, okay, maybe that's not the route that I want to go down. I really like doing this stuff. I'm confident in this stuff. This is what, and it was making beats. So then it was like, okay, world famous music producer. But I realized that to be a world famous music producer, it does not require a bachelor degree, a master's degree, an associate's degree. It's all based on how good your beats are, networking, knowing the right people, traveling. So it's like, okay, let me simplify. I just need to make the best beats I possibly can, which isn't easy. It doesn't happen overnight. There's hundreds of bad beats that lead to good beats. Right. And then there's hundreds of hundreds to thousands of good beats that lead to fire beats, amazing hit record beats. So you just got to make as much beats as you can, and then the whole networking part. And then I realized, oh, okay, nowadays you don't need record labels and things like that. I just need to learn about branding and build my brand. And so it's just evolving and just simplifying everything, you know.
Now, this turn to, I guess, here ending the podcast basically with some top fives, top tens, top different things for you. So, actually, again, just list in order. Again, everything that you make revenue from, basically. It doesn't have to be in order, but just kind of, let's hear them.
All right, so I would say videos.
Yep.
It could be music videos, weddings, whatever videos. Owning the studio, working in the studio, doing sessions, selling beats, YouTube, coaching calls. I mean, that's 6. Oh, the CD duplication company. Yeah. So, I mean, that's 7 right there. You know, the average millionaire has 7 sources of income. So, yeah.
There you go. So you're on your way. That's 2021,
I'm on my way, yeah.
That's my big thing. I got 2 years. Remember, my thing is be a millionaire by the time I'm 30. So, I got to start building those revenue streams and just focusing, grinding, basically, the hustle. And that's also the great. People might go, oh my God, how are you going to make $1 million by 30? I don't know. I'm going to figure it out, though. I'm going to try. And again, I'm telling you, the 10X rule by Grant Cardone will like change people's lives when it's like, he's like, basically, why would you be realistic and say, oh, I want to, make $100,000, a year, when you could say, because basically the idea is like, you might not hit that goal, but basically if I say I'm realistically, I think I can do 100K, a year, but I tell myself I'm gonna do $1 million, I might fall short of $1 million, but I might end up at 600,000 compared to 100,000 because I don't know. I had to figure out how to get to $1 million, and that's kind of the idea,
See, that would be good for someone like me, because I'm very, like, when you said that's your goal for next year, no, it's not. Right. When you said $1 millionaire, no, I know where I'm at this year, and I know where I was at the year before, and the year before, and the year before. I see this. I don't see this.
Right.
But
I am optimistic. Yeah.
Yeah, and I am thinking of, like, again, all the things that I could do, should do, would do, just didn't have time. Like, no, let me make time and get this thing going and get this thing going. And even if it means hiring people to help you, like, my goal this year was to hire 5 people, and I'm at 1, 2, 3, potentially 5 in the next like week or 2.
Right.
So that's
it's that mindset. It's just,
next year would be like 20.
Yeah, it's just turning that switch on, of like, again, you might fall short, but guess what? You're going to be a lot farther than you would have been, or if you were realistic. So let's hear some tips. Top 5 tips for somebody just starting out. And you can do if you want to do it related to music, because that's what you do, or if you think you have 5 good tips just for any entrepreneur just starting out that could probably help them, maybe get started a little bit quicker, I guess.
Yeah, I would say 1 is being patient, because patience is key, but also with 2, it would be have a sense of urgency, because there's a difference between lazy and like super patient. So you do have to be, and a lot of it too, I would say number 3 would be understanding the process.
Right.
So like, know what you're getting yourself into, and understand, have realistic expectations. As far as some people, I've shot music videos for certain artists, and they'll start laughing at the video shoot, and I'll say like, like, what's so funny? They're like, man, I'm just picturing what color Lamborghini I'm gonna get when this video comes out. And it's like, okay, you have no sense of understanding on how this works. Yeah. Like, the video comes out, it's got 100 views, there's no dollars or pennies made from this.
Right.
No Lamborghini. So be patient, but 2, have a sense of urgency. 3, understanding what you're getting yourself into.
Right.
4, you have to be passionate about it because you're gonna face all sorts of, oh shit, this just happened. Oh, I quit.
Right.
But and if you're quick to quit, you're not fully passionate or into it. And so that's something that I've been in tune with myself throughout this process is every time things with like weddings go bad, like it makes me want to quit, never do one again. Makes me want to quit, never do one again. I clearly am not very passionate about doing weddings.
Right.
If I had to write down the 20 things that I make money from that make me happy, weddings probably wouldn't be on that list. So
Right.
clearly I'm not passionate about weddings, so maybe I shouldn't do weddings no more.
Right.
So find things that you're passionate about. And then the last thing would be looking into all the different ways and options of monetizing it. So even like with you with this podcast, understanding you might know of one way to make money off of this, and it could be like Spotify streams or something.
Mm-hmm.
But understanding that there might be 13 or 15 different ways that you don't know of. So
Right.
like understanding all the different ways that you can monetize it. And say they with beats, some people, the standard way you would think about making money from beats is selling a beat to a rapper. Boom. But that's only one way. You can get sync placements, and you can get beats on TV shows, get beats in movies. You can sell beats to companies that do royalty free things, and you get a cut of every different thing. Like there's a million different, maybe not a million, but there's lots of different ways to make money doing lots of different things. So find the things that you enjoy doing, figure out all the different ways to make money off of it, understand the process, be patient, but also have a sense of urgency.
And I think YouTube, 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 YouTube. I think I can't say that enough. I love YouTube. You love YouTube. I think YouTube is the greatest thing out there right now. I barely watch any TV at all. Like at this point, I'm on YouTube all the time. Like watching anything from financial advice to business advice to investing advice. Again, it all kind of ties into real estate. I want to get into real estate, podcast stuff. Like you said, just finding ways of monetizing things. But just learn, basically, like learn from YouTube. So I guess we'll just end with this kind of what are some websites you shout yourself out, like where can people find, you can speak again to your music people. Remember, this will probably fit mainly music people, but yeah.
All right, first off, I'm on YouTube, Cracka Lack TV. We are almost at 40,000 subscribers, so that's dope. I want to get to 100,000. My goal this year was 100,000. Again, like you were saying,
That's
set
the
the
10X rule.
My goal was to go from 20 to 100. I didn't get to 100, but I doubled up. I did go from 20 to 40, know. And maybe if realistically I was on track to maybe go from 20 to 23 or 20 to 24, but I had that goal of 100, so I fell short and got to 40. But yep, YouTube, Cracka Lack TV, Instagram, Cracka_Lack. I'm on Facebook, Cracka Lack. Bam.
WorldLegacyClothing.com. Shout it out.
Hold your shirt up.
Living
yes, sir.
legend.
CrackHouseRecordingStudio.com for any music artists that want to come into one of Michigan's top studios around.
Where you at on Google reviews? You hit that number 1 yet?
I actually haven't checked, but if I'm not number 1, I'm in the top 5. Absolutely. So 3 months from when this airs, or 3 months from today, be number 1 on Google in the state of Michigan for
there you go.
If you recording studio near me. Yeah.
$1
that's enough plugs.
$1 CD duplication?
$1 CD duplication. If people want some one-on-one help, you can go to crackalackbeats.com/coaching. If you want to find out about music video pricing, crackalackbeats.com/book music video. For beats, crackalackbeats.com. Yeah.
Doesn't that just excite you, like having all that to shout out?
Yeah. My favorite is like, hey, Cracka Lack, you got somewhere where I can hear your beats? And I'm like,
yeah.
crackalackbeats.com.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hey, do you still do the $1 CD duplication thing? $1CDduplication.com.
There you go.
Hey, where can I buy some of that World Legacy clothing? WorldLegacyClothing.com. Yeah, websites are still, I heard mixed reviews on people saying like, oh, websites aren't worth it anymore. Like, hell no, websites are absolutely worth it.
They are.
Time savers.
Yeah, it's a 100% worth. Like you said, it's a place they can go get information. It's a place where they can go check things out. Again, man, time. You don't got time. Like, what are you gonna do? Copy and paste a bunch of things to people, or like send? No, like go to the website, check it out. You know.
Hey Dylan, what do you got in the extra large? Like,
Right.
go to the website. It's got everything: pictures, sizes,
Yeah.
description. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. I thank you for being the first one. A little longer than I expect. I was trying to keep them from 30 minutes to like 45 minutes, but I'll ask the guests, hey, first leave a comment. If the hour was too long, if it was, needs to be shorter, let me know, because I need to figure out how to, the sweet spot, and I'll find the sweet spot, but I think, we at least talked the whole time, we kept it knowledgeable.
In my opinion, I feel like a good conversation's about an hour long. And
Yeah.
around halfway, 30 minutes is like you really start warming up. In the beginning, it's kind of slow, but I feel like an hour is a solid.
So basically, if it doesn't get to an hour, that means it sucked. Basically, that means that conversation was not, the two people were not connecting. Basically.
Exactly. I'll just say that. Yeah.
Yeah, because me and you talk. We could talk probably for 3-4 hours on the phone. So I know me and you got a lot to talk about. So I guess I'll make sure, like I said, with future guests, just to kind of stick to an hour, I guess. But leave a comment. Again, comment on the video. This is going on YouTube, obviously, and then going on streaming services. But the YouTube is going to be the Hustlepreneur Life, so it'll be easy to find. There is an Instagram at the Hustlepreneur Life. So yeah, check us out. Well, check me out, I guess. I'm the sole kind of runner, operator of everything right now. Again, we're mainly going to be focusing on basically help, like motivation, business advice, real estate. Like I said, the podcasts are going to be good. Like, again, they'll get better and better as they go. We got pampered with having a pretty good guest to start off with. But every guest will be great, because, again, every guest is going to drop some type of knowledge. So, again, Cracka Lack, thank you for being the first guest. And, again, I'll always be talking to you every day. So, I guess.
Exactly. I was about to say, I'll talk to you later.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.
All right, guys. So that wraps up the first episode, first podcast. Again, let me know how I did. If you want less time, more time, just let me know. And again, if you have anybody that you want to see featured on the podcast, just again, leave a comment, tag them, shout them out, send me their info. Again, I want to be able to interview and talk to people that you want to hear and you want to learn from. It can be, again, anybody related to business, real estate, e-com. Again, Cracka Lack's a music entrepreneur, so anything, just let me know. We'll make it happen. But until then, I'll see you guys later. Thank you.